everybody, it's EK from EK Gorman Designs, and I am sneaking in today with a really kind of strange and special junk journal creation. I've been playing with junk journals with a kit that White Rose Craft Designs put out, and I've come to realize that, like, I didn't know how to actually make a junk journal. I come from the world of art journals, where I buy a pre-made watercolor page book and go from there. Well, I've never made my own junk journal, so after perusing all kinds of internet things, I realized I could do this. This was perfectly simple, and I thought maybe I wasn't the only one who didn't know how to make one. So what I did was grabbed a whole bunch of different papers, some already inked up, some whatever, and folded everything into half. They're all different kinds of sizes, and you can see now I'm going to actually sort everything that I folded into size order, from the biggest to the smallest. The smallest being just a piece of book page. I also had 2 envelopes that I had pulled, and I want to connect them to each other, so I took out these doilies that I had and just added some adhesive to them and attached the 2 of them and folded them with a doily on each side. This way I can use all of the envelope. I had some cards. That pink piece of paper and this blue piece of paper were both cards that I, leftover pre-assembled cards. And now what I'm doing is making everything the same size, just simply by tearing the edges. So that the book, there may be pages that are smaller, but the inside of the book all is this kind of unpredetermined, not measured size. So I'm just tearing pages out and kind of stacking them so it's not all big pages then small pages, that it's, an assortment here and there. I will tell you, the blue envelope that's sticking out, eventually I pulled it out and put it closer to the outside of the book so that it was not hanging over so much. This 12 by 12 piece of textured paper, I ended up getting 2 pages out of it, like a little half sheet and a full-size sheet, and I used that one as my cover in the end. And I love this piece of brown cardstock. Its core is white, so when I tear it, I actually get the white core showing through. And I think it just has a kind of cool effect. And I made this one uneven, so one page is longer than the other, so that there's a nice 3-sided page on one side. Tuck that into the book. This is a piece of heavy duty cardstock, so it definitely gets like a firm hand to it, and it's going to be one of the most stable pages probably in the junk journal because it's the thickest of all the pages. I tuck that in, and finally I have this piece of watercolor paper, which I'm excited to use because it's going to move medium more than anything else. And tore both sides of the pages. Finally, I'm going through and just making sure everything kind of meets that predetermined, not measured size that I want. This ended up being a little bit bigger than I needed it to be, so I tore it down. And again, I ended up making that my cover. This piece of paper here ended up being taller than I needed it to be, and I love this printed paper because it's got such an industrial feel to it, but I think it'll also blend into the background really nicely. Tucked that back in, kind of rearranged a few more papers, slid in a few here and there, and then found the center of the page. The dead center here is coming. It's this piece of printed paper. And I'm pulling the book page out, finding a new spot for that in the pages. But the center was this piece of printed newspaper that I had. It's really just crafting paper, but it's printed like a newspaper. And I pulled out some twine. Now this is the twine I keep in my kitchen for cooking. It's, like if I wrap up a roast, it's my baker's twine. I tied it up around the edges, not too tight, but definitely tight enough so it kind of holds things together. I realized this piece of printed paper on the inside was going to actually be a problem. So here I'm just kind of checking and making sure everything sorts out. And I realized this page of paper was going to be a problem because the baker's twine is going to tear it. So I pulled out the pre-assembled card, the blue one. I took the pink card, pre-made card out because the pink just didn't go with anything else, but the blue did work. And I put that as the most center page so it can hold the cardstock. Thanks for peeking in. If you want to see more of what I'm doing with this junk journal, check out this video here up in the corner. And until then, happy crafting, everybody.